Checking your email? Or are you on one of those social networking sites? I'd close that pop-up. Nasty viruses going round. Funny thing about this, the internet, email, Twitter, it's so recent, but it's everywhere. Only the box is new, though. What's inside is what's always been. It's like a sea, the net, with depths and tides and sharks. Oh, yes, sharks. Know what happens when you meet a shark? Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Click continue. I knew you would. Curious, eh? It's how it works. A temptation, a tease, a left click, and you never know what you'll get. Jim Hickson could tell you a story about that, if he'd a mind to. Jim was the last person to get on the net. Well, not the last, but it seemed that way. He'd been an accountant, not afraid of new technology, just unfamiliar with it. Took early retirement, had time on his hands, bought a computer, thought he might dabble. Jim's niece was in IT, Jim's late wife's niece, Gina. She volunteered to help him get started. So get started he did. There you go. Jim isn't gone completely. He has a web page. I wouldn't visit it, though. There's malware associated with it. Nasties that latch onto your desktop and open you up to, well, to sharks. Yes, the internet can be a dangerous place. I prefer the wireless, myself. No nasties on the wireless. Or maybe just one. Yes, it's quite a church, isn't it? I can see you appreciate it. You know, I've always thought it was rather like me. Tall, imposing, falling down here and there, maybe, with a few darkened corners you might want to stay away from, but still standing. We're both still here, despite everything. And like me, it's seen it all. Christenings, funerals, weddings. Of course, weddings. That's what you're here for. A possible venue for the big day. You're looking for the vicar. He's popped down the road. Back in a few minutes, I'm sure. The first day of the rest of your life. Must be frightening, terrifying, even. I knew a couple once. Both of them ready to make the leap into the unknown, into the future. But they had no idea. How could they? Of course. No idea what lay in wait for them. I don't know what happened in the end. If they lived happily ever after, or if the darkness that John saw still awaited them. But, for better or worse, they went through with it. He loved her. You can see the replacement window there now, you see? Depicting a couple walking out of the church arm in arm. On a sunny day like this, it looks like the most beautiful scene in the world. But when it's dark and cloudy, the couple look trapped somehow. Stuck. Forever. Ah, here's the vicar now. Good luck with your wedding. I'm sure it'll be the happiest day of your life. So you should make the most of it, I suppose. Goodbye. I'm sorry, is that your bag? Do you mind if I sit? Thank you. I always forget, this time of day, the buses will be swarming with children. You can almost hear the muscles of the other passengers tighten, can't you? Almost hear their teeth grinding together. I have nothing against teenagers. We were all young once. But en masse, well, With their tinny mobile phone speakers and their borrowed patois, it tends to put one on edge. There's a cul-de-sac not far from here. We'll pass it on our way into town. It's suburban, it's green and well-tended. All the kids go to good schools. Not so long ago, they had some trouble with teenagers. Not so long ago, the adults were afraid to step outside. Maybe you saw it on the news. The Crawley riots, the gang violence, typical teenagers running amok. A lick of paint, some new windows, a timely vaccine. Who can tell now, You watch a child grow, develop a personality, develop talents. But when they grow into something unrecognizable, something other, even then, your child is still your child, isn't it? An old lady, do you see? Over there between the tea bags and the biscuits, staring at the buy one, get one frees. I expect you hardly gave her a second glance. Why should you? You'd rather not think too much about people like her, their meal for one, single portion existence. You'd rather get on with choosing a good bottle of red. Go on. Look again. Try to picture her life. Does she have friends? Family? How would you know? But you do. You know someone just like her, living next door, down the street, at the end of the phone when she calls to hear what the grandkids are up to. Besides, one day it might be you standing there, invisible, choosing bourbons over custard creams. Take a good look. What are you frightened of? A little girl in her nursery playing tea parties with her imaginary friends. A fancy of a confused old lady. Both figments, of course, because angels don't exist, do they? She's at the checkout now, our old lady. Is she talking to herself? Poor dear, losing your faculties like that. Just one of the many indignities of old age. Ah, I see you've picked a Merlot. A good choice. Anyhow, I mustn't keep you any longer. Time flies. You get on. Oh, hello there. Useful places these, aren't they? If you need to take a break, buy a snack, get some last-minute flowers. Myself, I'm old-fashioned. I've come in to pick up a map. Funny the things a map shows you, or rather, doesn't show you. Look here, for instance. Simple route, A to B, quite straightforward. No mention that visitors to the area report the disquieting sensation of being watched from behind the trees. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? If perhaps there are other forces at work there. Such places, inhabited by such forces, one might be wise to avoid. Don't you think? I heard a story about such a place. As it happens, you might want to listen closely. Oh, I'm sorry. Have I worried you? Of course, such forces are only at work in certain locations. Not the route you're taking, I'm sure. It's identifying them that's the problem. Perhaps I should start to mark up my map more accurately. A better representation of what's actually there. I could show you, if we meet again, further down the road. It all depends what direction you choose to travel, doesn't it? So long.